My name is Dallas Mickner, and welcome to the Introduction to Adobe Illustrator tutorial. Today, I will be working with you to help you become more familiar with Adobe Illustrator. Let's get started. Please open up your Adobe Illustrator program by either finding it in your Start menu, right-clicking on the option and choosing Open, or double left-clicking on the icon that you may have saved on your desktop. Once you have the program open, you may be prompted with an opening menu window. If not, let's create a new file. Please go to the File menu at the top left, click on that once with the left click, and select New. For today's purposes, please begin by typing in your last name, an underscore key, and the term Intro to Adobe Illustrator shortened by AI. Just remember your file. Go ahead and please make sure that your size is set to a letter size. That should take care of the width and the height. If you open up the advanced menu, please make sure your color mode is set to CMYK, and then let's click OK. You should have a nice tall rectangle blank white artboard. Now, the next three things I'd like you to find is in the window menu at the top. Please open that by left clicking once. And within the window menu, there are three panels I'd like you to open initially, and there will be a few more as we go later on. The first three I'd like you to open up are the control panel by clicking on that once with the left click. You will now see that you have a control menu of options. The next thing I'd like you to do is click on your layers. This will be where our work areas are, shown by transparent windows. And then the last one is the tools. Notice how the window goes in alphabetical order, making that nice and easy. Your tools are located over here on the left and inside what's known as the toolbox. We'll be using just a few of these today for our introduction. Now with your screen and artboard set to go, the first thing I'd like you to do is go ahead and find the Shape tool. Now as you notice, when you hover over top of the tools, it gives you the name of the tool, and it also gives you the shortcut key on the keyboard of how to select that tool. So for example, the first tool I want you to find is known as the Shape tool, but it's also called each name of the tool that's underneath of it. For right now, it's called the Rectangle tool. Notice how the tool that's actually selected is the Selection tool up here by having the indented selection. But if I click the letter M, as it told me here, it will automatically select the Rectangle tool. If I click my left click button and hold on the tool menu, it gives me some options. And today we're going to choose the Star tool. You'll notice which tools have options by having a small little black arrow in the right hand corner. Every one of those tools that has that, if you click and hold, it has options underneath. The Selection tool has no options. With your Star tool chosen, please go ahead over your artboard, left click once, hold it, drag, and then create a few shapes on your artboard. You can see that if you continue to hold, you can rotate the shape and increase the size of it. Once you let go, that shape has been created. You will notice that each shape is selected by having a color outline with anchor points all the way around it, and you will know which layer you are on by the color of the outline around your objects, and that matches to the color of the layer right here. To deselect a shape, you can either go to the menu at the top where it says Select and then click Deselect. To reselect it, you would use your Selection tool and then choose a shape. Once you have it chosen, you may remove that shape anywhere on the artboard. Also, you will notice that a bounding box goes around the shape, and with that bounding box you can choose to mirror or reflect the shape. You can choose to grab the corner and resize it again. You can also hover your cursor outside of the corner to find a curve arrow, and then you can re-rotate that shape. Once you're happy where it is, you can right-click to reselect. You may click off the artboard anywhere to deselect, or you may go to select menu and that will deselect as well. If you would like to work a little bit faster without having to go back and forth between the toolbox, if you have your shape tool selected and you hold the control key on your keyboard, you'll notice that it turns into the selection tool, and that will allow you to move a shape, let go, draw another shape, move it, and do a lot more work without having to go back and forth between the toolbox. The next thing I'd like you to try is the paintbrush tool. When drawing things with your own hand, the paintbrush tool can be a fun tool to use. You will find that by hovering over it in the toolbox. Left click once to select it. Then, once you have the paintbrush tool selected, you'll notice your options at the top have changed. And let's open up the brush menu by left clicking on the down menu arrow. And you will notice that you have a few brushes to choose from, not very many in the beginning. Some simple point brushes, some interesting lines, and even some banners and borders to work with. For more options, in the bottom left-hand corner you will find a libraries menu. Please go ahead and open that menu, and then try to find a brush style that you would like to work with today. Today I'm going to choose decorative and then decorative scatter, and that menu opened up another sub-menu which gives me lots of different options for some decorative shapes and things to paintbrush. So if you're not good at painting perfect hearts, you can select this, draw with the paintbrush, and now I've created a series of perfect little hearts that I might not have been able to draw on my own. To deselect that, notice how it's still chosen. I would deselect that, maybe choose the star, and then paint some stars. So there's my painted stars and my star shapes. If you wish to try some other paintbrushes, please go ahead and do so. The next thing I'd like you to notice is that as you choose different tools in the toolbox, your cursor on the artboard changes between the different styles of the tools. So for example, right now I have my paintbrush chosen, the cursor looks like a paintbrush. If I choose my pencil tool, my cursor looks like a pencil. If I choose my pen tool, the pen is the cursor. Or if I choose the eyedropper tool, same thing. If you do not like these cursors, if you wish for a more precise cursor, you may go to the Edit menu, and at the bottom you'll find the title of Preferences. If you use that menu to find the General Settings, you can click Use Precise Cursors. When you click OK, you'll notice that your precise cursor has been changed to more of a crosshairs. Sometimes it looks like an X, and that can give you a more precise area of where you're going to paint, which means the center of that X. I prefer to use the regular cursor, so I'm going to switch mine back by going to Preferences, to General, unchecking that box, and clicking OK again. And there's my paintbrush. The next thing I'd like you to take a look at is going back to your Shape tool, clicking and holding and going back to Rectangle. At the top, you will notice that you have two boxes over here that also correspond to the same thing down here in your toolbox. They are known as the fill color and the stroke color. Let's change our fill color by opening that little menu there. You'll notice a series of swatches opens up, and pick one that's enjoyable for you. I'm going to pick green. Then notice how that same color is now in my toolbox, telling me that's the color that I'm going to use with my shape tool. So on your artboard, go ahead and left click and drag to create a new shape, or rectangle. Notice how it is green. Every shape I draw from then on will be green unless I switch the color. Notice how this rectangle is still bounded in blue. So if I change the color here while it's still selected, it will change the color while it's selected. Then I can deselect that shape and change colors without having to worry that it will change my color as I go. For variations of rectangles, please open up your rectangle menu again and choose the rounded rectangle. When you click and draw with the rounded rectangle, I'm going to change my color one more time so it looks different. Before you are finished, if you continue to hold down your left mouse key, find your arrow keys on your keyboard and hold either the down arrow key or the up arrow key, you'll notice that you can change the degree of how round your rectangle is. Once you let go, that rectangle will be set. If you need to make a more even shape, such as a square, while your shape tool is still selected as the rectangle tool, you can left click once on the artboard and you'll notice a menu opens up. Notice how my rectangle that I recently drew was 2.7282 inches with the height, and the height was 2.1329. To make that more even, I can just take away those decimal placings. Once I click OK, I now have created a even square. The next thing I'd like you to try in the tools is to locate the polygon tool. If you click that, then once again left click on your artboard, you'll notice that the options pop up for polygons. It gives you the radius and the number of sides. Right now it says I'm going to have a 6-sided shape when I draw a polygon. That should give me a hexagon. Let's try that. There it is. If I wish to change a different shape, let's say an octagon, I would left click again, and then I can increase my sides by clicking on the up or down arrows, or I can simply type in a number and it will create those shapes for me. If you go to the star tool, the one we first used, if we click and drag with a new star, I'm going to change my color one more time. Before I let go, if I continue to hold the mouse and then press up and down on the arrow keys on my keyboard, you can see that I can add points to that star before I create it on the artboard. And you'll find similar options within the other shapes tools as well, such as the ellipse tool. If I create an ellipse on my artboard, and if I hold the Alt key and Shift key, you'll notice that the ellipse tool will help me create perfect circles or ovals. There's a nice even circle. So please continue to have fun with the tools that we have just gone over. Create as much as you want on your artboard. Resave your file by going to the File menu, Save As, choose an appropriate location where you would like to save it, and then drop that file in the inbox for the Week 1 Intro to Adobe Illustrator. And please continue to have fun. Thank you.